Finding me.
No problem.
Okay.
So whenever you open Premiere, you should be introduced by this start screen, and this can show you all the recent files that you've created if you want to open old projects, or you can create new projects. So I'm going
Miss Cat, we can't see the video.
to
You can't see it?
Oh, I can't. No, ma'am.
Okay. Let's see. You are sharing screen, stop screen. Okay. Oh, here we go. Let's try that. Okay. Do you see a YouTube video now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's go back. All right, so this is going to take you into, like, it's going to talk about like importing it and where to put it, like on your computer and that kind of thing.
simple video editing tool built in the program. So whenever you open Premiere, you should be introduced by this start screen, and this can show you all the recent files that you've created, open old projects.
Can you
or
see it
can
okay?
create new projects. So I'm going to create a new project, and that should give you option to give your new project name and choose a location on where to save it. By default, Premiere will save them all in its Adobe Premiere Pro folder, which I just leave them there. However, if you want a specific place to save it, you could choose your own folder. I'm going to skip the rest of these settings for now. They're all not super important, but these are just the basics. You can name your file and choose a location where to save.
Okay, so I'm going to point this out real quick because this is important. So say you don't have a whole lot of storage room on your computer. Sometimes it's really good to have an external drive to save stuff on. This usually is better to save on your own computer. And so, you know, and also Scratch can get really full. Say if you've done like 2 or 3 projects, and you have to be able to put that, either you're going to have to delete those or you're going to have to always be making room on your computer because it'll get clogged.
Place to save it, you could choose your own folder. I'm going to skip the rest of these settings for now. They're all not super important, but these are just the basics. You can name your file and choose a location for it to save. So when you press OK, then it'll actually open up your new blank document. However, there's nothing really here except the menu. So the first step to creating a video or video editing is getting your media ready. So that's your video clips and whatnot. So there's a couple ways that you can import media. You have the media browser and things like that. However, I just usually like to go over to a folder on my desktop, open up all the clips that I want, and then click and drag those into the media bin. So now you see I have 3 clips in my bin here, and then I can just click and drag the first clip over to the timeline, and it'll create a timeline sequence. So when you're looking at the timeline, you want to see that it's split in the center here. So the things on the top are your video tracks. You see V1, V.
Hold on, this closed caption thing is a little not okay. Take that off.
V2, V3, and then on the bottom you have audio tracks. So A1, A2, A3.
Okay, so I went over that the other day. Do you see where he's going? So your tracks, so you're going to take and bring them over into your import files. And then you're going to be able to scrub through on the top here to what part of the clip that you want to use, and then you're going to bring them down. So here's your video 1, and then say video 1 is attached and it's got audio to it, so it's going to go down and that's going to be audio 1. And then in audio, then when you have say you want to use a soundtrack, you know, with it, then you could bring a soundtrack into audio 2. And then from there, Adobe has the controls up here on the top here, where you can control the levels, how loud you want it to be, and you can control your video clip. Okay, is that any questions? Okay, cool. All right.
You can see they're stacked outward symmetrically from the center. Additionally, if you take any track and you scroll up on it, you can get a larger view of it. A thumbnail will start to pop up. And the same thing with audio tracks. You can make them bigger so you can take a look at the audio waveform, which are the peaks and the low points of the actual audio in that clip. Also, you can see the timeline, just like any other timeline. You can zoom out to view everything or zoom into one specific portion. And what you have here is your scrubber, which is the playhead or where you're playing or editing. And when you press space on the keyboard, that'll play the clip. Anywhere that the playhead is at, you can see it in the project or program preview window here. And right now I have it set to fit. However, if you want to see it at 100%, this is what we're actually looking at. If you want to see it close, but I just keep it set to fit the whole time when I'm editing. And you can click and adjust the size of any of these windows to your preference. Let's say I don't want the media bin to be that big and I want more room on the timeline. I can do that as well.
Also, one thing that I do when I'm doing this is that, like, you know, for the longest time, I was just poor and I was editing on a little, like, what, 15-inch like Mac laptop. And so I don't know. So one day my friend called me out and said, hey, it's time for you to go get a bigger computer. So now if you have a second screen, you can always plug it into your computer and you can drag any of these components here over to the second screen, and then you can space things out and have more room. So that's really a nice feature.
When you click and highlight a clip, on the left-hand side, you should see an ability to switch between things like source, effect controls, Lumetri scopes, and a whole bunch of different info about these clips. So when I click this and I highlight effect controls, then I can see the basic video effect controls for this clip, like the position of it, the scale of it, which is the size, how big or small, the rotation of it, and all of these different parameters that naturally come with a clip. If you press this reset button on the right-hand side, it'll reset any of these back to default. Additionally, if you look over on the right-hand side, you should see an effects tab, and this is another place with a whole bunch of different video effects. So if I open up this video effects folder, I get all these different folders with different effects on them. So for example, if I go to blur, I can choose something like directional blur and click and drag that onto the video clip, and I'll see it pop up in the effects control window, and I can now adjust the parameters of this new effect that I just dragged on. So I could increase the blur length and change the direction of it and things like that. So now I've applied a blur to the whole clip. If I want, I can also click and delete that effect. Another important tab you'll see is the Lumetri color tab. Here's where you can do things like adjust the color, the temperature, the contrast, and if you head to the creative section here and click and open it up, you can add all different types of creative filters. These are all preset in, so if I click this arrow and then click on it, this will add some cinematic type of looks if you want.
Okay, am I getting too far ahead of you now? This is really the awesome part about Premiere. And if you maybe at some point, I would like to do a workshop on After Effects, because then you can really get crazy and do some really creative stuff with your footage. But basically, when you click on this and then you go up to effects, that's how you actually can control and manipulate it. You know, you can control like at what, you know, the endpoints, and you can control the scale. Right here is 100%. If you want to make it, you know, smaller or bigger, the footage, you know, the opacity. Also, you can control the opacity down here at the bottom, like actually moving this thing around. You can actually control the opacity on the clip when you go down on the line here and you move it up and down. And that controls the opacity too. There's all kinds of masks that you can put on. There's some basic corrections where you can do color correcting. Say if you shot something that looks blue and you need to fix the filter on it, if you can do all kinds of things like that.
You can add faded film, or you can open up tools like curves and adjust the color of each color channel by hand to create your own color grading or cinematic looks. I have whole separate tutorials on that, so don't forget to just check out the rest of my channel for more in-depth on specific topics. But let's keep it back to basics. Let's ignore all of these different effects we can add on. This is just generally showing you where everything is. So now you know where things are on the right-hand side, the left-hand side, and kind of where to be looking when you're working. But let's add a couple clips together in our sequence. So what you see here is the default sequence that we created from this clip, movie 1684. However, you can always go to File, New, and you can add new sequences in your project. So if I add a new sequence, I can make it whatever dimension I want. So settings, I can keep it whatever size I want, or if I wanted a specific size, I could type it in and then press OK. And now you'll see we have a new sequence. It'll also show up in the media bin. So if I take
Okay, so let me stop here. Why do you ever want another sequence? What would be the purpose of that? Say you're working on a project and then I'd say make a new sequence. What would that be for? What would you need, like, want that for? What are some reasons?
The next clip or like the next scene.
Yes, yes. So, or sometimes the way I worked out a film, like the way I edited it and put it together, I'm not too sure about it. Like maybe I'm not, yeah, I just don't know if it's working or not. And instead of like redo and fix it and picking at it, sometimes I'll just copy that whole sequence and make a new sequence and then make the different changes. That way I can go show whoever I'm doing the project with, which way do you like the project? So it's pretty cool. So yeah.
a title, so go to File, New, and create a title. This will open up the title editor, and let's type out my first video or something like that.
Yeah.
There's all these tools specifically in the title editor, like the fonts and the size. If you go on the right-hand side, you go to Title Actions and center it. But this will add that title to your media bin. So let's click and drag it out to our timeline and then zoom in and extend it. Now when I go back to movie 1684, I can click and highlight and move this set of clips over, and then I can click and drag entire other sequences that we built. So I can take sequence 1 and I can put it into this movie 1684 sequence, and then that's how you can build out a project from different sequences, or you just build everything all in the same sequence. Usually that's just what I do. So
yeah, so basically sometimes I'll build another like go do a second sequence and say I need to work out like an animation that I'm bringing in, or like bring on some titles or some kind of like other thing that I'm trying to work out, and then you can copy and paste it and bring it into your other sequence. Anybody have any questions? Is this making sense? I know it's probably the first time. Anybody good? Any questions? Okay.
Not
Okay.
So we've got this title, we've got this first clip. Now when I want to add another clip, let's say I want to add the second clip, I can do that. And there's a few tools that you want to get familiar with on the timeline. So on the left-hand side here, you can see all these different tools. And the main ones that you want to get familiar with are the selection tool and the razor tool. So the razor tool is pretty much like the cut tool. I can use that to create cuts. So let's say I don't want some of this clip, I can cut it out and then press V or click here and highlight the selection tool. I would get familiar with the shortcuts if I was you. V and C will switch between cut and move. And then I can click things, delete them, or move them around if I want.
I don't always remember all the shortcuts. I remember some of them. So don't get hung up on that. Just know that your tools over here on this side here, those are your tools. So sometimes you want to get really precise, and I use that blade tool and I use it to cut where I want. You can always grab the handle on the side here of the clip, and you can move the clip in and out this way. There's 3 different ways you can move a clip around and make it longer or shorter. Up here's your in point, and here's your out point. So those are really important. So if you're scrubbing through it up here and you're reviewing it, you can go hit it in, and then you can hit it out.
And edit together your video.
Okay. Or you can use a cut tool. And sometimes, like if it's actually probably, I like the cut tool when, say, you are using that roll bar. and you're enlarging it and you want to see something really precise, and then you can cut it. And then if you click on where you cut it, like the blank space, and then you hit delete, it'll put your two clips back together.
Those by cutting and moving and sequencing things together. Let's say I want to add a transition in between these two clips. I could do that simply by right-clicking and applying a default transition. That'll give us a cross dissolve. So that's a cross dissolve. If I click on the cross dissolve, I can. All
right, let's play that again. That's getting a lot of information. So who has anybody worked with dissolves, like either an iMovie or something else?
Yeah, isn't that like a transition?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. The transition.
So, okay, so I don't want to give you too much of a sermon, but you know, in comm, you're gonna. Has anybody had that in their comm classes, talking about how to use a transition in a video piece? So, my former boss was a little crazy about transitions, and he would be doing a news piece, and he would do some fancy swirl transition, and it used to drive me crazy. And it depends on what you're editing. Be very mindful about why you're doing that transition. Sometimes it comes off like in arty pieces. You just have to have a really good reason why you're doing that transition. Sometimes it's to switch. I'm kind of fussy about that. Sometimes it's like because you're changing, you have a different idea or something. But you can also, maybe I need to quit talking and just let this guy go.
I would get familiar with the shortcuts. If U, V, and C will switch between cut and move. And then I can click things, delete them, or move them around if I wanted to, and edit together your videos by cutting and moving and sequencing things together. Let's say I want to add a transition in between these two clips. I could do that simply by right-clicking and applying a default transition. That'll give us a cross dissolve. So that's a cross dissolve. If I click on the cross dissolve, I can choose in the effects controls panel to center it at the cut or start it at the end of the cut and things like that. So I usually center it at the cut, do the same thing with audio, and that'll just give us a basic cross dissolve transition. You can find other different types of transitions in the effects controls panel under video transitions, or build out your own by combining a bunch of different layers. So you can edit videos by just continuing to add media on there, cutting things or chopping things and then moving things around and arranging and sequencing your clips how you like on your timeline. And you can utilize different sequences if you want to build out certain specific parts and then drag those into your project. Another very important part of editing is just knowing basics about keyframes. So if I click on this clip and I see that there's a stopwatch next to any and all of these different effects that I can apply. So if I add a stopwatch icon, that'll toggle animation, and that'll give us this little diamond, which is a keyframe. So that means I added a key at 100 scale, and then if I move over like 5 or 10 frames, and I add another key at 105 as the scale, and then I move over another 10, and I take it back to 100, what you'll see is that'll create a little animation. It starts at 100 on this keyframe, then it transitions slowly into 105, and then it goes back down to 100.
So that's how you kind of create effects. Say if you just have a photograph or something, you know, and so it's just not sitting there boring. You know, you could click on that and then create your keyframes, and that makes it something interesting. Or there's a couple more advanced ways that you can take and move it around and stuff and make it, you know, they use that in PBS films and stuff a lot, documentaries.
So keyframes, you can use them to animate any type of effect parameters or any effect controls. The possibilities are really endless creatively, but that's what that little stopwatch is, and that's how you can transition or start and stop effects. Because you don't want something to just be rotated halfway during the clip and just play like that for the whole clip. Additionally, when you're talking about audio, you can adjust the overall sound or volume of the track right here. This is at 0 decibel or normal volume, and then you can lower it if you want. Let's say you're adding background music. you can lower it down to an amount that's suitable for your ear. There's no specific amount that background music should be at. You can just listen and use your ear to see how loud you want things like the background music or background noise to be. So once you're ready to export your project, say you've created it, if you're finished, 10-second movie here with all your clips and your title, what you'll do is go to File, Export, Media. And this will open up this window to show you what you're exporting. So you're going to be exporting 0 to 11 seconds, and you can scrub through and see exactly what parts are.
Okay, so this is real important. This is something that back in the day I used to mess up on when we used to use a different editing program. And so one day our station manager said, hey, guess what? We're switching to Adobe, so you better get on to learning that. So anyway, so when I jumped into this, one of the things he's showing you, he's like media out, but do you see under here where it says sequence out? You need to go switch on to entire sequence to get it out of there. And you know, I'll be helping you once you get to that point. Just wanted to show you that. He's showing you.
Captured. And there's a whole bunch of different ways you can export.
Because if you don't, it'll just give you like a little clip, and you got to make sure that you're clicked on the sequence that that you want to export. Say it's sequence 2. You want to just click on that sequence. Make sure you clicked on it for when you export it. Okay, Simone, you good?
Just keep it at match source, which is the preset. It'll export things the same way that your original clip size was, which can work fine. Also, you can do things like go to the format, go to the preset, and there's all these different presets. So if you're exporting for YouTube, you can export for YouTube 1080p HD. It'll automatically take care of everything for you.
So, and here's another thing that's a real big deal is when you're exporting, you want to know, if you're doing a job for somebody or whatever, you definitely want to know how do they want it exported, because when you go, he just went into showing them. Let me see, I can't even see where this thing is. So when he went in here, different formats, usually H.264 is usually formatted for YouTube. You know, also just a nerdy art fact here is that I've been told that the QuickTime MOVs are going away. So and so let's see, 1080 is YouTube sometimes, but also at 720. And then if you're making a film, a high quality film, or you're sending this to, say you're sending it to PBS, you're doing it for a news agency, you're doing it for broadcasting, you have to find out what format they're looking for. This one out and looks, and here says the output's going to be MP4. This is really, really crucial. Also here you've got the queue. You know, if you're going to export it, if you have a lot of things to export, you're going to make it a queue, put it in, and then they'll line, and they just put your clips and things that you're working on in a line and export them. Otherwise, export, and then you need to tell it where you want it to export to.
So you can do things like go to the format, go to the preset, and there's all these different presets. So if you're exporting for YouTube, you can export for YouTube 1080p HD. It'll automatically take care of everything for you.
Yeah, so you see what it says when it's, even for YouTube, it's putting out an MP4. MP4 is not a huge, it's not that big of a file usually. It's something a little more, the codec's a little more compact, because the more compact, and it'll, like, you don't want to sacrifice resolution, but you do want to have, say if you're doing for YouTube, you want to 720, sometimes people put on YouTube. 360 is poor resolution, it's low, it's going to be kind of blurry and people are not going to watch it. Sometimes if it's 360, it's something for like a really, really small clip that's in a website or something that'll run fast. But the bigger your file, and if you put it on the web, it's going to run real slow and it's going to get clogged. I'm sure you've seen stuff like that. It's not going to run well on some computers, especially old computers.
And you can just choose an output name. So you could choose like my first video. It'll tell you where you're saving it to. So the desktop in this case.
Yeah.
And then just click export. And
also I recommend, I'm guilty of this, is that I tend to put stuff on my desktop and then I clog up my computer and my scratch disk. So one other recommendation is make sure you have an external drive so that you can save it onto it, because you know, you can really clog up. If you're doing a big project, you can really clog things up. And especially if you ever are working in a computer lab at SC State, you cannot save stuff on the desktop there in a computer lab. So just commenting on that.
And it'll render and encode things out and give you an estimated time for it to finish.
Another note about this is that if you have a clogged up computer, this render is going to be painful. It's going to take forever. You're going to be able to go do your laundry and clean your house and still have your thing rendering. So you just want to be really smart about how you manage all your files on your computer. Okay.
If it reaches 100%, it'll go back to your editing screen. However, you should see your newly finished video on your desktop or wherever you saved it to.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can save your project and close it, and you should be able to open it up and edit again if you want. But those are the basics of how to do some simple video editing and some important things that you need to know, in my opinion, to get started with Premiere Pro. Definitely check out my channel and follow along for more specific in-depth videos.
Okay, so stop sharing. Okay, any questions, any thoughts? What do you think? Does it look like you can do it?
Yeah, it doesn't seem bad.
Okay. Madrina, you good?
Yeah, I was listening and watching, even though I wasn't like in the camera. I'm comfortable with Pro. And
I'm having a hard time hearing you, hun.
can you hear me now?
Okay. All right. Well, if you can always review it. It's in module 10. You can always go back and look at that whole thing to help you. I'm not gonna, so we're kind of winding down on time here. Because actually, and right now I'm already up to about 87 right now in the book. So the book has just got a lot of information. And so I'm kind of looking to see where there's a lesson at, because we're going to end up doing like the next chapter is organizing your media. I may just glance over that real quick, and we may do that. Organize. Does everybody know what a bin is in Premiere? What that
Isn't
means?
that not where all your footage is? Or
It's a folder. It's just
yes,
a
ma'am.
folder. Yeah, bins just means it's a folder to put all your videos, all your stuff in. And then how do you organize? Say you have a bunch of footage with butterflies, and then you have close-up of butterflies, and then you have flowers. What's in Premiere that lets you organize the footage? What can you do? It actually has a feature. If you right-click on it, you can give it a color, and then you could sort it out in the bins so that you know where to find your footage. So it's really important, if you have a nice big project, to organize all your footage in your bins. And this is all in the book. This all goes into it on page 80 here. Okay. Searching and changing colors. Okay. But this book has a lot of detail, monitoring footage, and I'm not gonna cover all of it. I'm just gonna pull one of the exercises for you to do. Working with raw files, you're not gonna do that. Interpreting footage. Okay. Oh, another thing, do you know about time codes on videos? What's time code for on a video?
is that the time? Like, I don't know the exact definition, but I'm taking a guess. Is that like the time on the video in the sequence or on
Yeah,
your?
20 seconds into it, it'll run zeros and it'll go like that. And then one of the reasons you use that is, say, if you're working with someone and you're working with another editor, or you're working with me, and say you need an edit at time code 00.47, you can write that in your script and then give them the exact time code of what you need,
Okay.
where you need it cut. It's just it's a way to identify in your video what's
Gotcha.
cut. Mastering essential of video editing. Okay, so I'm going to jump ahead here. So I think the way these are set up is one sets up on the other. So I'm kind of going a little bit ahead. So we're going to be like, I'm going to pick out a chapter like in 5. Hopefully I'm trying to find which one where you can just pull that project out and then pull out the files and work with it. I need to, like I said, this is the first year. This is a treat to me to have this book with you guys. So I'm going to go through this some more over the weekend, and I'll give you a project to work on. I just want to know that everybody's got access to the footage. And if there's anybody that doesn't, please come talk to me about it. And I will figure out what we can do. Like, I'll give you some footage. See if I can send you clips or something like that. Okay? Because I don't want anybody in here to say, well, I can't do the work because I just really don't have a book. I really want everybody to have it. So come talk to me if that's the case, okay? Or send me email or something, okay?
Excuse me, Miss Cat. I have the book, but where can I get the footage from? I'm lost.
All right. If you have a book, there's a little thing back here, and I have it in here. It's a disc in the back of the book.
Okay. Gotcha.
Not everybody, everybody, laptops now don't even have those on there anymore.
Yes, I'm about to say my laptop doesn't have a disc.
All right, so you got to go get one.
Okay.
You
I
plug
do have an old one that has one, so I'll try to see if I can get that old laptop back.
Well, I can't find it right now, but I have one that just plugs in, and it's a disc player, and it plugs into your laptop.
Okay. Gotcha. I'll try to find one.
Yeah, it's funny how discs now become antiquated.
Right. And I even noticed that with the SD cards in my new laptop, it doesn't have like the normal size SD card. It has only like the micro SD card, and that comes. Yeah, it's so awkward with editing because usually you might get like the regular SD card.
Yeah. Like, where are we going to be in 10 years? I just keep wondering, because that's changed over the last 10 years.
Right. And that's like, I can't.
Okay, so I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I want you to go get a book, and I want you to just kind of review all the way up to like chapter 5. Just kind of look over it. You don't have to read every single thing. Just want you to kind of review it. I want you to look at that video, and I just want you to just get acquainted and just feel comfortable. And then we're going to keep going through.
Oh wait, Miss Cat, you said, because I just brought it off the check. So you're saying that we need like a disk reader, like a computer that can read a disk for our files. Is that what you were saying?
Unless you go to Peach Pit and get it, and then you can download the files.
Oh, well, I'm saying in advance because I just bought it. Can you just put the files for what we need to use? Because I don't have anything that will read a disk. Because I have a MacBook.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm gonna try and see what I can do. Let me see if it'll let me, because sometimes these things are encrypted and they won't let you share the files. Let me see what I can do. I hope. Let's see if I can nerd out and what happens. Yeah, let's see what I can do. So I'm not going to give you any homework this weekend. I just want you to just, kind of relax. I'm about to leave. Okay, Madrina. I didn't know it was in caps. What did she just say? Wait a minute. I'm about to leave and come back because I'm not sure why you're not able to hear me. Oh, okay. All right. She's coming back. Okay. I'm coming back because I have questions. Okay, cool. Zoom is kind of glitching out today. So I don't want to overwhelm you. So I'm just going to leave you with this over the weekend. And I just want you to just review and just be ready for Monday. And then I'm going to look over it some more and I'll see if I can get some files up for you. And then we'll see if we can start on the project. Does that sound fair enough?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to be one of those teachers that just throws so much work at you. I just want you to look at this and take it in, and you guys are doing pretty good. So is that good? Is that fair enough? Yeah. Okay, good. All right, Fabienne, I'm wanting to talk to you. Everybody good? Madrina, you have questions?
Can you hear me?
I can now. Yay.
Good. Okay, so I am on Peach Pit. I see the correct like book format,
Mhm.
and you said the 2019 version is the version that you have, but
Yeah.
let me show you my screen because
Okay, let me share the screen, give you the screen share, multiple. Okay, you can share it. Show us what you got.
Okay. So this is where I'm at. I scrolled all the way down. I just see 2020.
I saw one that was the web version that I would totally get. Oh, wow. They have 2021. Actually,
See, I didn't click on the link that you sent the first time in week 10, but I don't see it now.
okay. Well, click on Adobe Photoshop Classroom and see what that does. Because I saw it for $38.
Hold on, I can't see the top left because you said click on.
Check books. Oh, wow. It took you to check books. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is the link Kiana sent. This is the
Yeah.
link sent on Zoom.
All right.
But if it's
Well,
not,
that's cheaper.
yeah, but if it's not going to be beneficial with what I need to download, I'm not even about to put myself through that.
Okay, it's just going to send you a book, and then you got to go buy Drive to plug it in to get it loaded into your.
Yeah, I'm not about to do that.
And I wish I knew where you could go and just download those files. And I'm sorry that they're doing that. All right, so go to they have the web version of it. Oh, you're on Peach Pit. Go to Adobe Premiere Classroom and book 2019.
Okay. Like Creative Cloud, right?
No, I don't know. No, go back to where you were in Chegg.
Oh, check.
Okay, and there was a go back again to Peach Pit.
Can you just send me?
A web version. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's a web version of it. Oh wait. See where they have a web version, the ebook. That's what you want. The ebook.
ebook.
Yeah, you want an ebook. Scroll up and see if there's. Because I had it. I wanted to click on it. I was like, man, this would be so much easier.
I remember you said the book was $38.
Yeah, I saw it for 38. Okay, scroll up to the.
There you go.
Let's see.
Oh no. Yeah, this one.
Ebook, yeah, ebook. That's it, right there. Ebook, 38.
All right.
Right there. Kiana, click, put that screen up on the chat so everybody can get it.
Get what?
The link that you just did.
The check one?
This one right here. Click up, put the link into the chat for everybody.
Oh, the check. I already put that in the chat because Madrina clicked on it. That's on hers.
All right, sweet. Yeah, so everybody can see that. All right. And then add to the cart and then scroll down. Let's see what sample content available, ebook format. Okay, see, then you have all your chapters and then with it, it'll be your footage.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm about to get this one. It says watermarked, but what are they?
Oh, wait a minute. What did I miss? Watermark?
They had a different version underneath that was the web edition that wasn't watermarked.
Oh, okay. Might be a little bit more. Well, you know, this is just for learning. So your footage might end up being watermarked or something.
Okay, yes. So let me just better safe than sorry. It's the same price.
So if you get the classroom, so if you buy the book, wait a minute, what is this? Your price. But this is the book, so you're gonna have that little disc and disc,
Oh, never
and
mind.
you're gonna have to get it off of that disc. Let me check on that and see if there's another way to get that footage other than that disc.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can take the assets. You know, that means it's all the footage and stuff. And I'm going to try to, you know, how they encode things so you can't take stuff. I'm going to try to put it like in week 11 under content assignments. I'll try to do that after we get done. Okay. For anybody that might need it.
Oh, let me get off of this.
All right. If you have any problem with that or whatever, email, you know, contact me and let me know what's going on with that.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, anybody have any questions? Thank you for doing that. That's cool.
No question.
All right. Well, let's just go ahead and end it today, and then I'll see you guys on Friday, 11.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll kick it a little bit more and keep going through this.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. See you.
All right, Miss Pratt.
Good one. Bye.
Bye, Alexander.